Hey, welcome back. We are kicking off hour two of a Merry Money Monday show right here. And when it's a Money Monday, you bring on the money guests. And in the leadoff spot for hour two, it's Eric Mitchell. He's a political commentator. He's also the CEO of Life Flip Media. Thanks so much for joining us today, Eric. The big buzz, I'm down here on Wall Street, downtown. More and more people are talking about investing in these private companies before they go public. We're gonna get in early. There's new rules around, accredited investors, so regular folks like you and I can kind of get in on this stuff. And actually, one of my good friends, a legendary broker, Bobby Schatz, was telling me last week that his firm actually got an allocation on DraftKings. And the DraftKings is selling stock now for like $4 or $4.20 before they go public. And you know a little bit about this DraftKings IPO. What's happening with this thing? And let me remind you, I'm not giving you financial advice, nor am I telling you to buy anything based on my advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't play one on TV. And my desk should tell you that I'm drinking alcohol every day. So you're on your own there. But do your own homework. Make sure it's suitable. But Eric, what do you know about this DraftKings IPO?
You know what's great about DraftKings right now is that they are taking off. And the fantasy sports has really taken off. Obviously, New Jersey's had it for a couple years now. And fantasy sports is launching. And it's great to see DraftKings take the lead of these other IPOs that we've seen that it's a little bit different than DraftKings, like LinkedIn and Uber. And they're launching and doing this before and grabbing their audience and really taking off with it. And I definitely think it's going to shoot when it does go public because they're able to grab more investors and clearly see that their audience is there.
So you think that there is a DraftKings IPO somewhere in their near future?
Oh, absolutely. With the way that fantasy sports have grown and e-gaming here in America and across the world, definitely, it's going to take off. I'd say in the next 6 to 8 months, I'd see it launch.
When I talked to my boy Bobby, he's telling me that they really need accredited investors in on this stuff, but they think DraftKings is a wonderful thing. It's a brand name that everyone knows about, and they have investments from like Fox and NFL and all these other. You think maybe they could get taken out before even going public, like before going IPO?
I don't think they actually would. I think they want to keep their hat in the ring. If you've listened to the founders of the company, they don't have an exit strategy, which is usually the tip-off that they're looking to get acquired, is when they do have that exit strategy. Instead, that they've been very public that they want to watch DraftKings grow.
Some of these ones that people have like really chased after, like Uber and Lyft and some of this stuff, they were so hyped that when the IPO came, it actually settled back down. They weren't. Absolutely. It wasn't great for them. I think DraftKings is going to be a whole different story, but because everyone loves it, kids love it, and now kids are doing the Robinhood app, so there's going to be a way bigger fervor around it.
Oh. But for investors, Eric, I mean, I could see definitely DraftKings is poised to make a lot of money. But how do we know if it's valued appropriately for investors? So it could still make a lot of money and have the IPO price set a little higher than investors can make money with. How do we know if it's appropriately priced?
That's a great question. It's really hard to say that, right? As we're talking about, as we've had all the news come out about Uber stock, down was at 30, and their founder has clearly been buying his stock all up. What does he have? 2 billion, 2.4 billion in the last 6 weeks. So it's really hard to evaluate that, right? Because we saw LinkedIn stock when they IPO'd go clearly up, and then we've also watched Twitter and we've watched Uber. So it'll be interesting to see it, but I think when you look at e-gaming and the fact that 14-year-olds, and I am telling my 12-year-old, you can actually play video games and make, $3 million? So e-gaming and fantasy sports being as huge as it is today, definitely think you're going to see a huge IPO and it's going to hold very well.
Yeah, for the first time, you're seeing parents encourage their kids to play video games more.
Come on, son, let's do some fantasy gambling. Let me set a great example for you.
Let me ask you about something that's not fantasy in the world of sports, but reality. That's NBA. How'd the TV ratings for this NBA season turn out?
This year, they're horrible. It's down like what the NFL was during the whole kneeling with Kaepernick.
What's causing this?
I would blame it on bad refereeing. That's just because I'm partial to my team in Portland. But it's chronic.
Said every high school basketball coach ever.
Amen. And anybody who's guarding James Harden. Absolutely, they'll tell you the refs are. But if you look at it, they also have the issue with China, right? If we started off the season with the issues with the GM from the Rockets, and you had the players coming out, the big name players like LeBron defending their paychecks and the folks cutting them checks in China and not coming out in defense of the folks in Hong Kong that are fighting for our freedom, waving American flags, by the way, because they love our country, they want democracy. And, the atrocities that are taking place in China, it bled over here. When the NBA was throwing fans out of arenas because they were pro Hong Kong, I mean, since when do we be like, hey, we don't like democracy. It's okay if you want to hear, just don't talk about it in other countries.
I have been going ape over our major sports leagues, okay? The NFL, they let the players kneel for a couple years. Now they let them stay. They didn't take a stand and say, hey, get out there and stand for the flag. So Goodell, he's like on his way down, if you ask me. Then they named Michael Vick, a convicted dog murderer, torturer, electrocutor, one of the worst vermin on earth. They put this guy out and make him a captain of the Pro Bowl. So the NFL, to me, they're kicking their audience in the can every time they get a chance. Now the NBA, they have this obscure GM, puts out one little tweet supporting Hong Kong, and China shuts down the NBA across the whole country. So are these leagues like beholden to our enemies? It's crazy.
It's clear that to me, it feels like as a fan, as a season ticket holder of an NBA team, it feels that they don't take the fans into consideration. It's about the almighty dollar, and it shows you how much that China controls the purse strings when it comes to it. Now, the NFL is a whole nother topic because they let the players control that league. At least in the NBA, they all stand for the flag, which is very important to me. You see it in Major League Baseball too, but it's just crazy how they're all affected by the big brands that tell them what to do. They don't really care about their
Speaking of money, the latest Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker, did very, very well at the box office this weekend, but apparently not nearly as well as other Star Wars movies did for their openings. What is the box office numbers that we're seeing from this latest Star Wars installment tell us about the future of the franchise?
It's amazing because if you saw the report this morning, they were talking about its release in China. And that's historically, obviously, they have more people than anywhere else on the planet. Their numbers are way down. So I think people are looking at this, especially the diehard Star Wars folks, the ones that have already kind of overreacted towards this Disney Plus with their, Baby Yoda
Right,
and
exactly.
Mandalorian,
I
have
love
like,
Baby
oh, it's
Yoda.
not correct. They're looking at this movie, and some of the reports are great. I'm hearing that I haven't personally seen it yet, but I've heard it's a really good movie. And then the purists are like, it's not good. I think Disney's vanilla to everything. If you look at it, the Avengers, they own all the big movies, and now you're seeing this just kind of decline of, okay, I think we're burned out on on Star Wars movies. We can only have so many.
Yeah, I think you're right. We mentioned in a little earlier segment about how Cory Booker was saying America is suffering from impeachment fatigue, both Democrats and Republican. Me personally, I'm on Star Wars fatigue. Like, I don't even know what, am I going, is this the future one? Is this the pre one? Is this the pre to the pre? I don't even know where we are right now. Luke Skywalker's a Baby Yoda now. I don't know what's happening.
My wife suffers from the same thing.
Yeah.
She sits there with our kids, and she's like, okay, so how many years? Where are we at with this one?
472 million miles away in a galaxy far, far away.
There you go.
I don't understand where we're at. I keep losing track with all the things. What was wrong with just like a good old Empire Strikes Back?
You really only
know
have to
what
be
I'm
able to
saying?
count to 9. It's 9 episodes. You just got it, episode 1, episode
I know,
2,
but they go
episode 3.
forward, then they go backward,
all right,
and
that's
then
fair.
they
That's a fair
rewind. And how old is Mark Hamill? He's
That's a
100. And that,
Democratic presidential candidate that was not on the debate stage, but still managed to make a lot of headlines last week by voting present on impeachment. That's Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. Where do you see her presidential candidacy going? I know she's done very well in terms of engagement on social media, but that doesn't necessarily seem to have affected her standing in the polls, at least among Democratic primary voters.
It's funny when we talk about, Tulsi Gabbard, number one, remember, she's a veteran. So it's funny how.
As are you, right? A Marine veteran?
Absolutely. Hoorah.
God bless you.
You're welcome. Yeah. But, when you talk about the left and the right, you got to remember, 4 weeks ago, we were all, as Republicans, yelled at for not calling Lieutenant Colonel, right? We're all disrespectful. But here, a Democrat, a decorated veteran also, comes out and says present, and she's attacked by her entire party, AOC, and that entire gang. And it doesn't make any sense to me. Where's the hypocrisy of it? I think she is great she's probably the best candidate they have, but I know they all like Biden, who at the debate was facing the wrong way on the stage and kind of wandering
His
around.
eyes are bleeding, his teeth are falling out every time he talks. He can't remember what state he's in. He says, I love it here in Vermont. He's in New Hampshire. But that's the number one guy.
Yeah.
I was amazed just like a month ago that Tulsi Gabbard's like 2-3% in the polls. In the midterm elections, the Democrats were standing up. Oh, it's the greatest wave. It's a blue wave. We have the most women. We have the most Muslims. We're the most diverse party. Now they have all old white people up there, and you got a woman of color who is a veteran, who's an elected official, and Hillary Clinton pops out of the crypt to throw shade on her. I can't even imagine what's happening to her. Why do they hate her?
Well, Hillary doesn't like anybody that wins.
Well,
So,
that's
I mean,
true.
that's a difficult thing to do. And you just have to remember, they're going after her because she's the loudest one and she doesn't toe the party line, right? They all love socialism, except for Biden. He doesn't know what he likes, besides money from his son. So we just have to continue. It's just weird, but I mean, Hillary doesn't like anybody. We just hope that she doesn't end up finding out that she needs to commit suicide. So.
Yeah. Has she ever been elected, Hillary?
Yeah, she was two-term senator from.
But she got
right.
appointed senator.
No, she got elected.
But she got appointed, didn't she?
No, she got elected.
She did?
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah,
But
she-
empty seat or something.
No, it was an open seat.
Open seat.
Yeah, she didn't beat an incumbent.
Ah, okay.
Right, she
I'm
beat
sorry.
Rick
She didn't
Lazio.
even beat anybody. She
Well, she beat Rick Lazio.
yeah, but I'm saying the Lazio's nothing. I mean, she got appointed to the State Department. You know, she's not even a candidate, as far as I can tell. But hopefully, she goes back in the crypt, and they can find some new woman to put out there and represent the party. Hopefully, it's Tulsi Gabbard, because
be
I
awesome.
think she's actually an example for young people. Even though she doesn't represent my form of democracy, I think she's a good candidate. You're a great guest, Eric Mitchell. Thank you so much for leading it off. We're going to be breezing through hour two right after this. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to chow down on some more of these Christmas bagels. And we're going to come back right after this with the man himself, Gerald Celente, joins us right here for a little liquid lunch.